Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us. My name is R. Lee Ingalls. As you know, I'm the author of a new book, Ingalls on the Prairie, the Gene and Fern Ingalls story. This is the continuing video series of the real Ingalls family. So we are one of the Ingalls families that we still exist. We're a fairly large family, 8 kids. Gene and Fern are our parents. And today, joining me, I have two of my siblings from the second four, which their experience has been different than those of us that are in the older four group. So I'll let them introduce themselves and then talk about whatever comes to mind.
Go ahead, Candy.
I'm Candy. I am the youngest of eight. Um, I don't remember a lot of growing up in Minneapolis. I do have memories from after we moved out on the farm, and that's when most of my story and memories begin.
And I'm Cheri. I'm the third to the youngest, and I'm with Candy. I do have some memories of North Minneapolis, but primarily my memories are of Waconia also, and how much
Cool.
trouble we could get into.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So thank you. So yeah, no, that's what I thought we would do because most of your memories are going to be from when we lived in Waconia and not in the cities,
Right.
or even before that. So tell us about some of the earliest memories that you have.
Well, I can say that we moved out to the farm on my seventh birthday. And so I was quite young, but I do still remember the move. I remember, feeling like it was a wilderness. The grass was very high, and it was basically a farm, barn, granary, um, detached garage. It was very unlike anything I had ever seen before in my life, but I felt excitement, and there was a lot of people around to help us move and get acclimated to our new surroundings. So I felt good being there.
Yeah, I thought my first memory of the farm was this is a huge playground. I mean, there was acres and acres for us to play in. And that's all I could think of is playing.
Which we did a lot of. So yeah, one of the things that was a little bit different for you two than was for us in the older group. So going to school, Barbara only had 1 year of high school left when we moved out there. So she was only
Yeah.
there for 1 year. I had 3 years of high school when I was there. But Candy, you went almost your entire life to school in Waconia.
Right.
And almost your entire life and certainly your formative years were
Mhm.
spent at the same school, which is a different experience than us older four. We jumped from school to school almost our entire childhood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember going to kindergarten at Willard. We were actually in a classroom that was in like a Quonset hut. It was detached from the school, and no windows, just chairs and a teacher. Don't remember a whole lot more than that, but I do remember going to Waconia Elementary School, and at that age, I'm not sure I even developed a personality yet. I felt very unsure of myself and where I would fit in with this group of people. But I come to find out that, at that age, we're all kind of in the same boat, just feeling out who fits with who. And I felt very welcome. I know I kind of acclimated to one teacher in specific, Miss Hope. And she was just always so kind and so gentle, and no matter how busy she was, if she felt like I needed a friend to talk to, she would seek me out, pull me aside, and she really made me feel welcome in the school.
Oh, I don't remember her at all. I think if I had a teacher that really stuck out to me, the two would be Mrs. Lairkey, I think is how you pronounce it, Homack,
Yeah.
and Mrs. Lind, the phy ed teacher.
Mhm.
And those two were hardcore. I mean, they did not let you get by with nothing. And I tried every single step of the way. I fought them tooth and nail, but I learned so much from those two teachers.
And what was Mrs. Larkey's favorite saying?
You've been verbally spanked.
Yeah.
Consider yourself verbally spanked.
That hurt.
I would, yeah, and that's what I would tell her. Oh, that hurt.
Yeah. Well, the second part of the story about Miss Hope was that she tragically drowned. She was in the car on the ice, and the car went through the ice, and she saved her nephew that was in the car, but she actually ended up drowning, which is why to this day I do not want to be in a vehicle on the ice. It scares me.
Wow.
Yeah, so
That sounds like a good policy to me, Candy.
yeah.
Yeah.
hmm
It's kind of like swimming in the same water with the sharks. Yeah.
Right.
And then you're going to complain when
Yes.
you get bit.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You're going to get in trouble for that comment, but whatever.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well,
But
I
I-
remember.
Oh.
Go ahead, Candy.
I remember making friends when I was in elementary school, and I actually became blood sisters with one of them. We actually poked our fingers and spread our blood around our fingers, and that was a thing to do when you felt like you had a bestie back
Yep.
then. Wouldn't dare do that in today's world, but I remember bringing some of the friends home to the farm, and I would get so mad because by the time they left, they were Sherry's friends. They were no longer my friends. And they would still remain my friends so that they could come back over and play with Sherry. She was the fun one.
Yeah, I was the fun one. That's what I wanted to do, was play.
hmm
That's all I wanted to do was play.
Yep.
So I remember playing out in the granary with Margot, and Margot stepping on a rusty nail. I may have told this story already. And her getting some rubber from her tennis shoe in the hole, and they had to take her into the doctor and had to cut it out of her foot. Yeah, it was bad.
I
Gross.
kind of remember that too. She was getting blood poisoning. That's all the
Yeah.
black line coming up her leg. Yeah.
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 So what we got from that story, what I got from that story is run around without your tennis shoes on. So it just goes directly in your foot.
Right. Yeah, because it had nothing to do with the rusty nail that she stepped on.
Not at all.
Or playing in the granary.
Yeah, I know, right.
I remember once when we were, I was still living there. Remember there was in the barn doors, you open the big barn doors, and there was a rope that kind of hung right down from one of the rafters inside. And Kurt, Brad, and I were trying to pull it taut and get Monty to kind of fly
Monty.
up in the air. Yeah,
Right.
so we were able to get Monty kind of flew up in the air. It was kind of fun. So then Margot wanted to try and do it. Well, when we pulled it really hard because Margot was bigger than Monty. She let go and flew. And I saw it quick enough that I moved out of the way. She went right on top of Kurt and Brad.
Sounds so like you.
Yeah, but that was typical of the stuff that we used to do, and about as bad as anyone got hurt.
Yes. Yeah. We
my God.
never went out to hurt anybody or anything. Ours was all in, and we did end up getting hurt at times. But it was all in good fun.
Yeah.
I remember the rope swing in the barn, and we would all, grab onto the pulley and then, fly across the pulley in the barn. Well,
Yeah.
Monty just would always forget how fast he grew, and his legs stuck out, went right through the other side of the barn. And he's like, don't tell mom and dad, because like they won't notice that,
Yeah, through the big hole on the side of the barn.
He did that more than once. when Monty was still small and I was still living there. So just so that everybody knows that the pulley system in the barn, the peak of the barn had a rail across it and a device that went across it on wheels, but there was a rope that hung straight down and then two ropes, one went to one end of the barn, one went to the other one. And if you pulled from one side, that thing came across the peak of the barn. So Monty would go over, climb all the way up on the rafters, grab the rope that hung straight down. One or two of us would go on the other side of the barn and then jump off with that rope so that Monty would come flying through the barn. And that's how we learned two people jumping with the rope was too much for Monty.
Yeah. Poor Monty.
Yeah, he swung back into the barn before he let go and fell to the hay on the floor. But yeah.
Oh yeah. We had some good times.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many times Monty fell from one spot or another in the hayloft.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I remember the old farmhouse, going down to the basement from inside the house was kind of spooky, narrow staircase and, almost straight down. But what was really spooky was when you went outside and you opened the two double doors to go
down to the cellar.
And you could just hear the little critters, running, scurrying out of the way. And, we'd pick up salamanders. Mom, what's this? She just loved it when we came to show her what we found in the cellar. But I do remember the wash machine too. It was a spinning wash machine. Then you had to feed it through the rollers.
Yeah.
And even in the wintertime, we would go and hang them out on the line. And
bring in frozen sheets and
freeze-dried clothes.
Yep.
That still is a mystery to me. How in the heck does anything dry in the freezing weather? You would think the water would just freeze and stay, but it didn't.
Yeah. No.
Eventually it got dry.
Yeah.
And they always smelled good.
Yeah. Yeah. They did.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really don't know how Mom and Dad survived all 8 of us.
Well, I was a good one. So.
You were what?
I missed
that part. Oh yeah. Yeah.
There's 7 they had to get through. I keep telling that at
yeah.
Well, us older ones broke in all the teachers for you younger ones, so that by the time you got there, they knew what to expect.
Yeah.
I remember walking classrooms and the teachers would say, "You're another Ingalls? How many are there?" I'm the last one.
I know Mr. Lind, when I was graduating, he said, "Please tell me you're the last one." I said, "No, there's 2 more behind me." Of course, Kurt and Brad gave him the run for their money.
Oh yeah.
We all did. I mean, even Barbara, when we first moved out there, the year before we got there, the girls were not allowed to wear anything but skirts or dresses to school. You couldn't wear pants. And Barbara got in trouble several times for wearing pantsuits. They were women pantsuits. It wasn't like she was wearing just jeans. And, back then, I think that was the year that they allowed you to wear jeans as well. But before then, you couldn't wear jeans either. So it had been very, very conservative before we got out there. And many of the things that we did, they did not like. I got kicked out of the math class at one point because of what I was wearing. And I thought, so I'm wearing something you don't like and you're going to reward me.
Yeah.
I've been liking this. I'm going to keep doing this.
My God.
Yeah, like that was a punishment.
Yeah. Yeah, we definitely did our damage to those teachers.
Yeah.
But, well, I don't know about all of us, but, it was all in good fun. We weren't malicious in any way.
No, it's not like we destroyed property or anything. We didn't.
Just was on the line all the time.
Yeah. or we didn't get into any fights or anything like that with people. You know, we just would misbehave. Wouldn't necessarily listen to what they were telling us to listen to.
Yeah.
Should we,
See how far we can actually stretch the boundaries.
Right.
should we talk about inviting the Bulldogs to the farm?
Yeah.
I
Okay, Lee.
remember that, but barely.
Oh,
Yeah. So the Bulldogs were our next door neighbors in North Minneapolis. We were in North Minneapolis, right?
Right. They lived across
Yeah.
the street.
Yeah. And for the first, I don't know, 2 or 3 years, we lived out on the farm. Every summer they would come out and spend time with us. Well, I'll tell the one story, Candy. I'll tell the creek story. You tell the other one, okay?
all right.
So we had this creek on the farm that kind of snaked around the electric fence. The electric fence went right across it. And we would wade through the creek, and every time we'd come up to the fence, Monty would say fence and duck under it. Well, Steve was behind Monty, and I was then Aaron, and then me. Well, Monty said fence and ducked under. Steve said fence and ducked under, and all I heard out of Aaron was "buh." And he was down and out of that water faster than I knew it hit him. It got him right in the forehead. Oh my gosh, I laughed so hard.
Well, and again, it was unintentional, but it was hysterical.
It was really funny. Okay, you tell the other fence story.
Well, I don't have another fence story, but I remember that the boys, and it was always the boys, I was just
Yeah.
a spectator, but they would secretly put a firecracker in a cow patty and light it. And Steve and Aaron would, Kurt or Monty would say, go see if it's lit. And so they'd go walk over there and they'd put their face right down in there and the thing would go off. And I fell for that so many times. And then watch Aaron try to get up on a horse.
Yeah.
Monty and Kurt do it. They just jump up, swing their leg over, and they were on the horse. Well, he would try and imitate them, and he would go flying over that horse's back every single time, fall flat on his face. I mean, he was so
He kept trying.
kept going. We finally put a saddle on the horse.
Yeah.
They were good fun.
Yeah, they were fun.
Yeah, they were. I tried to find them on Facebook, and I think I found Steve, but I wasn't sure. And I reached out to him, but it may not have been him. So, because I never got a response. Yeah.
My good friend was Nancy, but I don't think she ever came out to the farm. I don't remember her ever coming.
I don't remember her coming out to the farm either.
Yeah, in Minneapolis, we were like best friends.
Yeah, you were.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, they moved into our house and rented it from us for several years.
Oh, I didn't know
When we
that.
moved to the farm. Yeah. Mrs. Bolduc rented it for several years until just before I left. And then she bought her own house.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was
so
wonderful.
we had some fun times out there. We fought like cats and dogs when we were kids. None of us liked each other, and
Yeah.
now we're best friends.
Well,
Yeah.
even then, we would fight like cats and dogs with each other, but
Right.
don't say anything about one of
Oh,
our,
yeah.
they'd be in for it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, Margot was proof of that. Remember her dragging that Sue or whatever her name was across because Sue punched me or something?
yeah,
And Margot found out about it and dragged her across the yard with her hair.
I remember Margot also hitting somebody on the school bus upside the head with a metal lunchbox. And I think it was the guy's metal lunchbox, grabbed it right out of his hand and
Oh,
hit. So yeah, she was kind of a bodyguard.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, we all had those protective instincts when it came to each other, although we would beat the tar out of each other, but
Right.
when we were at home alone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just don't anybody else mess with us.
Yeah, and then the winters up there, ooh, those were bad.
Those were
Mhm.
brutal.
Yeah.
I remember going out and, doing chores and even going sledding or just about anything we did outside. We didn't really have the appropriate gear to be outside. So we'd all get, frostbite in our fingertips and toes. And we'd go and put our hands in front of the radiator. And it would feel like your heart was beating in your fingers and
Yes.
hurt, and it would go from throbbing to like you're being stuck with needles.
Needles. Yes.
Oh, it was terrible, but it didn't keep us from going outside and playing.
No.
Oh, Jerry, tell about the windmill story.
Oh. So Margot and I were upstairs in the bathroom sneaking a cigarette, blowing it out the window. And all of a sudden we hear Candy screaming, "Mom, Mom." Could hardly make out what she was saying. So we look out the window and hear Candy has her tongue stuck to the windmill.
So just so everybody knows, the windmill actually supplied water to the house, and it was this huge, tall metal structure. And there was a lever that when you pulled it down, it shut it off, so the windmill wouldn't turn. And then you had to pull it back up, and then the windmill would turn and pump water. Yeah, so in order to get it to stop, you had to put your chest against it, take that thing, and it was hard to pull it
Right.
down and get it to shut off, especially if the wind was blowing.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm with that. The wind blew the tongue right out my mouth.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't know how that happened.
Mom came out there with warm water and poured it on you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
then-
she heard Margot and I upstairs laughing and she yelled at us,
Yeah.
"Quit laughing up there." Oh.
Well, I remember Kurt, Brad, and I doing chores when we first moved up there. You know, we had to shut the water off to the outbuildings during the winter because the pipes had been buried too close to the surface. So we would fill up a 5-gallon bucket, one in each hand, and haul it down to all the animals twice a day. So that usually meant making 2 or 3 trips. Well, as you're walking, and it was a hill, walking from the house down to those outbuildings. So we would splash the water. By the time we were done, the bottom of our pants were covered in ice.
Yep. Yep, I remember that.
Yeah.
And then if it snowed overnight, we had to get up and plow out the driveway so Mom and Dad could get out
Yeah.
to go to work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was all kinds of fun.
Yeah. I remember getting the school bus at the end of the driveway, and
Oh
it
my
was
gosh.
long driveway. So in the wintertime, we always thought we could, just listen for the bus coming down the highway and then sprint, down to the end of the driveway. Well, none of us were fast enough runners for that. So, but otherwise we would just be out there huddled, freezing. And
Freezing.
if the school bus was late, it was terrible.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I
I
definitely
remember
remember that standing up there. Hmm?
I remember running up that driveway many of times. That bus driver must have hated us.
Well, I think they did hate us because when we sprinted and couldn't make it in time, then we would call Mom, we missed the school bus. So she'd come home. She would chase that bus down and give them the what for. You can't tell me you didn't see those kids running down the driveway. And they would say, well, they're supposed to be standing at the end of the driveway. And yeah, so we weren't very liked by the school bus.
Yeah, Mom was funny. I don't know if you remember, but in Waconia, at the intersection of 284 and Highway 5 was right outside the city, right on the south side of the city. And there was no stop sign or anything. So the Highway 5 had the right of way to go but then 284 was a state highway. There was so many accidents there, and
Yeah.
everybody, including Mom, was calling to have a signal light put in there. And they kept refusing. And finally, Mom called one time and she said, well, what is it going to take before you will consider putting in a signal light there? And they said, well, the number of deaths due to an accident are too low. There has to be more. So Mom just told them, well, do you have any volunteers? She had a good sense of humor about that
Oh
stuff.
my
So
gosh.
yeah, they eventually did put one in there. In fact, there's several signal lights there now, but that one was really a bad one.
Yeah.
would.
Yeah.
And I remember we had a dog named Maverick, my favorite
Yeah.
dog in the whole wide world. And he was the little narc dog because he could hear Mom turning down the highway when she got off work. And we thought when Maverick started barking like crazy, we could go run down to the garden and start weeding like an acre's worth of
Right.
garden in the 10 minutes it was going to take her to get down the highway.
In the 8 hours that we were supposed to be spending in the garden.
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, one of the photo galleries that I was going to create was our dog galleries, because we had Snoopy and we had Maverick, and I think I have a couple of photos of each of them that I'm going to put out there.
Yeah.
Just loved
And there was
Maverick.
another dog that I don't know if you remember or not, but we got her right before we moved from Minneapolis. It was a black
Sandy.
Labrador. No, her name was Duchess.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
Sandy was the first dog we got after Duchess. But so
Okay.
Black Lab moved out to the farm, and I think I have photos of her, but she got distemper, and I
Yeah.
had to put her down. So then we couldn't have a dog for I think 6 months, and that's when we got, after that period had passed, that's when we got Sandy, which was the next.
Okay.
okay.
Sandy was a German Shepherd.
Yeah.
I remember when Monty got Jake, and he was a big
Cujo dog.
Yes. And it was right around the same time the Cujo movie came out.
Mhm.
And so I don't know why I was coming home alone, but Jake was right outside my car door. And I just had this vision of okay, he's a rabid dog. Now I can't get out of my car. I actually stayed in my car until Mom came home from work.
I thought
Not-
his name was Cujo.
No, it was Jake. We called him Cujo though.
Well, there was a movie called Cujo that
Yeah.
went red and
Yeah.
trapped a lady in her car for days and days and days and ended up killing people and stuff. It was terrifying.
Yeah. Yeah, those were fun times.
Yeah, they were.
Mhm.
So what else did you want to talk about? What are your holiday plans?
Well, Governor Walz just extended our stay-at-home order or stay safe order. So the bars and restaurants are not open. We're supposed to not, get together with any more than one extra family outside your household. But I am having my kids here because I spent Thanksgiving alone, and that was not fun. And so the kids are coming here for Christmas Eve dinner.
Oh,
That's
nice.
Yeah, very nice.
Mhm.
Well,
Cheri, what are
Tyler-
you doing?
Tyler's coming home from the Army. So I will be spending Christmas with him.
Nice.
Yes.
Very nice.
Yeah. What about you, Lee?
I'm not exactly sure. So we are going to cook, just like we did for Thanksgiving, but this time we're going to have a rib roast, standing rib roast. And I think his mother is going to come. So she might,
Okay.
but I'm not, I know she's going to be here on Christmas Eve, but I don't know if she's coming on Christmas Day or not.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Cool.
going to be much smaller this year, as it should be. This
Yeah.
is the year to keep things small, and we're definitely doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard on people and stuff. Everybody is over this whole COVID thing and missing their families and everything else, but we're so close to the end now. We just got to get through this last stretch and have things go back to being somewhat normal again, where we can actually hug each other and be next to each other. And you know, I know it's tough on a lot of people and stuff, but people need to be safe right now.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep, I agree.
So
Same here, me too. So anything else you want to talk about?
I don't think so. We were kind of all over. I was going to try and do chronological order, but you know, talking and remembering things. So
yeah,
That's the way it always goes, which is fine. That's the best part.
more stories for next time.
yeah,
It's true. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. So now we got to try and get Monty and Kurt. Those are the only
Yeah.
two that have not participated in a video yet. And I know Kurt, it's a struggle for him. So I'm trying to get him when he feels well enough to be on a video. And Monty, his signal is so bad. Hopefully he'll get to a place where he does have good signal, and then we can set up a call with him as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Those two have the stories.
yeah,
For sure.
yeah.
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 Well, thank you for joining me today. You both
Thank
have a good rest of the afternoon.
Yep, you too. I love you guys.
Yep, love you too.
Love
Thank
you.
everyone for joining us and watching our video.
Yeah. Thank
Yep.
you.
Thank you.
Happy
Bye.
holidays, everyone.
Happy holidays.